Hello and welcome to TTVNEWS with some latest events in TayNinhTV and across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, on June 16, Major General Phạm Quang Tuyển, Deputy Director General of the Department of Personnel Organization under the Ministry of Public Security, chaired a conference to announce and present the Minister of Public Security's decision on personnel appointments at the Provincial Police Department. Attending the ceremony, there was Mr. Nguyễn Mạnh Hùng, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee and Chairman of the Provincial People's Council.
At the event, the Colonel Phan Văn Triều, Deputy Secretary of the Party Committee and Deputy Director of the Provincial Police, announced the ministry decision regarding the Major General Nguyễn Văn Trải. Earlier, on June the 11th in Hanoi, the Minister of Public Security handed over the decision of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Public Security on resigning Major General Nguyễn Văn Trải from the Director of the Provincial Police to assume a new post as the Deputy Director General of the Department of Security Investigation under the Ministry of Public Security. The Major General Phạm Quang Tuyển and Secretary Provincial Party Committee Nguyễn Mạnh Hùng presented the flowers to congratulate the Major General Nguyễn Văn Trải on his new assignment. The Major General Phạm Quang Tuyển also presented the appointment decision and flowers to Major General Vũ Như Hà, previously Director by Vũng Tàu Provincial Police, who has now been assigned to take over as Director of the Provincial Police. The decision takes effect from June the 14th of 2005. In his remarks, the Secretary of Provincial Party Committee Nguyễn Mạnh Hùng congratulated both the police leaders on the trust placed in them with their new assignments and recognizing their competent political resolve and significant contribution to the local public security. He emphasized that the Major General Nguyễn Văn Trải has shown a strong leadership at the grassroots level, directing the successful investigation and resolution of the major criminal cases and building a formal, elite, and modern provincial police force. He expressed confidence that in his new position, Major General Nguyễn Văn Trải would continue to exalt and fulfill all assigned duties. And he also expressed his hope that the new Director of the Provincial Police, Major General Vũ Như Hà, would quickly begin his work and streamline the operation of the provincial police apparatus and continue to uphold political security and public order, building a cleaner, stronger, and more service-oriented police force for the people.
In recent years, TayNinhTV has maximized the mobilization of resources to invest in transportation infrastructure connecting to border-gates. At the same time, it has integrated investment capital from the state budget and allocated a regulated portion of border-gate infrastructure fee revenue to strengthen investment and upgrade technical infrastructure at border-gates and roads leading to the border. TayNinh has completed and put into use nearly 40 kilometers of border roads with a total investment of over 350 billion Vietnam dong. It has also completed and inaugurated phase 2 of Provincial Road 794 with a total length of 16 kilometers. These roads have yielded significant benefits in terms of national defense, security, and socio-economic development. In addition, the province has invested in upgrading and expanding the road connecting to Tân Nam International Border Gate, specifically the section from Tân Bình Border Gas Station to the intersection of Provincial Road 7HH and 7H3. This section is 11 kilometers long with a total budget of 150 billion Vietnam dong and is expected to be completed within this year. To date, the province has attracted 2 logistics center projects and 13 warehouse projects with a total investment of nearly 6,300 billion Vietnam dong in border area of the province.
And Horton's Party Secretary Phan Văn Khải chaired a meeting reviewing the mission of the first half of 2025. The key sector grew by over 8% and trade services by nearly 9%. The state budget revenue reached 1410 billion Vietnam dong for 60% of target, and public investment disbursement hit for 79% of the plan. Over 100 solidarity and gratitude houses have been built for disadvantaged families with a budget of over 9 billion Vietnam dong.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the age of information explosion, each person, especially the youth, is exposed daily to hundreds of information sources from social media and online platforms to various content sharing networks. The mix of real and fake news makes it easy for young people to feel confused and misled if they don't have the discernment to filter information carefully. In that context, mainstream journalism is increasingly asserting its role as a reliable information source that guides public opinion and nurtures ideology, particularly among the young generation. For young people, the pioneering force and future owners of the country, mainstream journalism plays an even more vital role in fostering revolutionary thinking, promoting noble ideals, and inspiring a spirit of dedication. Through media agencies, we promote new models, creative approaches, extraordinary youth figures, and dynamic youth movements across the Union. We also collaborate with media outlets to innovate communication efforts across newspapers and broadcasts. For example, we regularly update formats on social media platforms, create new segments, and gather grassroots-level stories so that media content is both refreshed and more in tune with the interests of young people. In the digital era, with social media developing rapidly, young people are confronted daily with a massive amount of information. If not filtered carefully or verified for origin, they can easily fall prey to fake news and misinformation. To me, mainstream journalism plays a very important role in verifying information. It helps me avoid being influenced by fake or misleading news that is spread online. At Battalion 14, Regiment 174 in the TayNinhTV Provincial Military Command, reading newspaper and following the news is more than a habit. It has become an essential part of political and ideological education for young soldiers. We regularly assign youth organizations the task of sharing news with young soldiers and guiding them toward official news sources. This helps them understand what kind of information they should observe and from there define clear goals and directions for themselves in how they access information. In today's information landscape, mainstream journalism not only helps young people distinguish right from wrong, it also nurtures ideals, patriotism, and the desire to contribute. Journalism is a trustworthy companion to the young generation, quietly fulfilling its mission each day as the voice of the party and state and the forum of the people. On June 13, the Party Committee of the 5th Division reviewed 5 years of implementing Project number 473 by the Military Recent Command and summarized tasks on protecting the party's ideology foundation and combating false and hostile views in the first half of 2025. Over 5 years, the Party Committee and local authorities have integrated propaganda and guidance to protect the party's ideological foundation and counter false views online. This was then through political education, emulation movements like skillful mass organization and building good mass mobilization units, helping maintain ideological stability and political security in the unit and local areas.
And the People's Committee of Hidden Worth and Storage recently held a ceremony to hand over Right Solidarity houses to the 2 household facing housing difficulties in the area, including the families of missing Nguyễn Thị Cẩm Sang, born in 1955, residing in Hiệp Lệ Quarter, a Provincial-level poor household, and a family of Mrs. Phạm Thị Đáng, also born in 1955, residing in Hiệp Thành Quarter, a central-level near poor household. Each house, covering over 40 square meters, was solidly built with brick walls, characterized in iron roofs and tile floors, and fully equipped for the daily living. The total construction cost for both houses were 180 million Vietnam dong, sourced from the city's Fund for the Poor. Additionally, TayNinhTV Cement Joint Stock Company supported the project by donating 100 bags of cement.
According to the agricultural sector's plan, TayNinhTV Province is set to show approximately 43,000 hectares surplus for the 2025 summer-autumn crop. The sowing period was scheduled to concentrate in May and conclude before June 15, 2024. As of now, the province has completed the sowing phase on schedule, in which Rang Thao, Châu Thành, and Goyo districts are localities with large areas. At present, most of the rice is in the pinnacle initiation stage, with only a small portion having begun flowering. Sowing simultaneously and according to plan helps minimize the presence of pests and diseases that commonly affects lethal fields. Most of the season's dry crops is growing well with no signs of disease. Weather conditions so far have had minimal adverse effects on the growth and development of the rice plants. The orange Vietnam's export turnover to Canada continued to show strong growth in the first quarter of the year, reaching nearly $2 billion, an increase of over 13% compared to the same period last year. If this growth rate is sustained, Vietnam's exports are expected to surpass the set targets for this year, and Vietnamese businesses will continue to expand in this market in the future.
In 2024, the trade turnover between Vietnam and Canada reached over $11 billion, and with Vietnam enjoying a trade surplus of nearly $10 billion, thanks in a large part to the contributions of Canadian businesses of Vietnamese origin. We will continue to support and focus on overseas Vietnamese businesses, as they are the importers who understand the market and the consumer structure of the Vietnamese community in Canada, and it's worth emphasizing that the Vietnamese business community in Canada has grown significantly in recent times, and this will be a promising market for Vietnamese products also. Vietnam's key product items include the textile and garments, footwear, food and wood products, seafood, coffee, electronic components, and machinery are all highly rated by Canadian consumers for their quality and competitive pricing. The Vietnamese goods today, especially agricultural products, are delicious and well suited in the terms of state, appearance and packaging for the global demand. But the way we enter the global market hasn't yet made a strong impression as a united Vietnamese community. And that's why we thought of the idea of regional hub, brands of food hubs to bring more processed agricultural products from Vietnam to the North America, and from there expand to other parts of the world also. In recent years, Vietnam has exported around $10 billion worth of goods to Canada annually. Of that, roughly $4 billion has flowed through the U.S. suppliers due to Canada's reliance on the supply chain of its southern neighbor.
Turn to domestic news. Ladies and gentlemen, the third round of negotiations on the bilateral reciprocal trade agreement between Vietnam and the United States was held from June to 12, 2025 in Washington, D.C., USA. Over the 4 days of talks, the Vietnamese and U.S. negotiating delegations made significant progress, narrowing differences across all areas of negotiation. The two sides engaged in rank and constructive discussions on issues of mutual concern, as outlined in the response document that Vietnam had previously sent to the United States. Both parties also agreed to hold a virtual meeting in the coming days to continue addressing the remaining issues and prepare for an upcoming online negotiation session between U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick and Vietnamese Minister of Industry and Trade Nguyễn Hồng Diên.
And the Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính signed Directive number 89 on June 16 of 2025, requiring ministry and local authority to implement the information system for receiving and processing the feedback and petitions related to the legal documents to be completed before June 20 of 2025. And the system officially launched on May 31st of 2025 under the project applying digital technology in receiving and processing feedback on legal documents. The Prime Minister emphasized that ministers, head agencies and provincial leaders must treat it as an important task and ensure the timely resolution, and they have also instructed to integrate their system with their respective electronic portals by June 20th. Additionally, a review and a cleanup of legal documents data in the National Legal Database must be completed by September 1st of 2025.
In recent years, Vietnam's marine economy has made rapid and sustainable progress across multiple sectors. The marine and coastal economy has made a major contribution to national GDP, with the GDP of 28 coastal ranches and cities accounting for around 50% of the country's total GDP in 2022. Purely marine-based sectors are targeted to contribute approximately 10% to GDP. Vietnam is fortunate to have a strong tradition in fishing and a sustainable tourism sector that is rapidly developing. The country should aim for a regenerative economy and encourage greater public participation so everyone can contribute to building this regenerative economy. A new phase is gradually emerging for Vietnam's coastal and island urban system, with increasingly modern, synchronized, and smart infrastructure. Marine and island tourism has seen rapid growth, asserting its position and role in the nation's socio-economic development. The maritime sector has made notable achievements, with seaport system being modernized and transport capacity continuously improving. The oil and gas industry is thriving, reaching world-class technological standards. Vietnam is rapidly mastering exploration, extraction, and processing technologies, maintaining a critical role in the national economy, while also helping safeguard the country's maritime sovereignty. The fishery sector is also expanding rapidly, with increasingly scale and high growth rates, generating significant production value. However, Vietnam still faces several challenges in managing marine economic sectors and in planning marine spatial development. Other pressing concerns include marine pollution, ecosystem changes, and determining effective pathways toward a green and sustainable marine economy. Vietnam has identified the marine economy as the key driving force for development in the coming years. With the goal of making Vietnam a strong marine nation, we will focus on the following directions for developing a blue economy. Firstly, promote investment in the construction of renewable energy sources. Secondly, foster the development of the fishery sector in a green, circular, low carbon, and climate resilient manner, prioritizing offshore aquaculture and fishing combined with marine conservation and preserving marine culture. Weekly strategic leadership from the party and state, strong commitment across the political system, and international support, Vietnam's blue economy is expected to see significant breakthroughs in the near future. These efforts will not only increase its contribution to national GDP and improve the livelihoods of coastal communities, but also help protect the marine environment in a sustainable way. And that's all for today TTV News. Thank you for being with us and goodbye for now.